Hello and welcome to the UTB Blogcast. We are here tonight with Brad, Dave, and Alpha, and Chat might be joining us in a little bit. We're going to start off tonight talking about the Apple EU tax fund. So Dave,
Yay!
Dave, why don't you go ahead and start us off with that? Talk a little
Oh
bit about
man,
what
I
happened with
hate it.
Apple this week.
I hate it when the teacher picks me first. It sucks. Yeah, the Apple EU thing. I am extremely impressed with U.S. Treasury because I find it ridiculous that they're upset about the EU in general going after whatever it is, 13 or 14 billion euros, or maybe it's 13 billion euros and it's something like $14 billion because they're relatively close. Yeah, only a billion apart. And I find it stunningly humorous, sort of, that the U.S. wants nothing to do with this happening, when in actual fact all they're doing behind the scenes is ignoring the fact that they should have been gaining taxes from Apple, because that's where the company is started. So U.S. tax law, if I read this right, is applicable to companies where they are created or started. So there's something going on with maneuvers in stateless taxes, where money just gets moved around to, I think it's Apple Sales International, ASI, or something like that. What's that squeaking sound? Is Brad blowing up his blow-up doll, or what's?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Hey, they're not blow up. I got nothing but quality here, buddy.
Yeah, well, there's been some deflation in the States, so I get it. Anyway, so where was I? Stateless taxes. There's some bad maneuvering going on, and it's not benefiting anybody but Apple. It's a sweetheart deal that that Ireland basically created in cahoots with Apple for 0.005% in taxes, which is nothing. Is something like $50 on $1 million. $1 million, and all they do is pay $50. It's ridiculous. To me, it should be illegal. I realize that Ireland's regular tax rate is 12.5 or something like that percent, and U.S. is something like 35, and that's a huge difference. And even that should be good enough, but no, it's down to 0.005, and I just find the whole practice weird, and it doesn't benefit the United States of America in any way, shape, or form. To support infrastructure and whatnot. So it's just, to me, it's the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and it's a mess. I hate it, to be honest.
That link you sent in today, Dave, that kind of explains stuff to me, because I was getting pissed at the U.S. government's response to what the EU is doing, and it's like, how does this make any sense? And then the link you sent us kind of it made sense. It doesn't make it right, but there's a tax credit. So basically, when the bill collector comes collecting on Apple, Apple's not paying that bill. We're paying that bill. Us in the U.S. is paying that bill. So now I suddenly see why, the government doesn't want the EU doing this, because it's not going to be coming from Apple. So there needs to be a lot of they need to really look at these tax laws. And when you've got the most profitable business in the world not paying taxes, that's a problem. When you've got it set up to where they can offset their U.S. taxes by paying foreign taxes, and they get a tax credit for that here, that's ridiculous. Apple is really causing the governments to look at laws that have been on the books, and I mean, they could be stupid laws, but they're really, it started with encryption. Now we're looking at taxes. Governments are getting involved in this. It's no longer just a technology company putting out a product. Governments, we're dealing with huge amounts of money. You know what California could do with $14 billion? Really? I mean, this is weird. I'm here in California. We have no water. Everybody thinks California, woohoo. They're thinking of Hollywood, all the money that's there. That's not all of California. The majority of us are depressed. We've got a huge deficit. We need the money. Our schools are suffering. Our people are suffering. Our unemployment rate is out of control. And Dave's going to be pissed at me for saying this, but it's the liberals' fault.
No, I'm not. I'm completely agreeing with you.
Yeah, they created this mess, but anyway, there's a mess, and
there's
Apple
a reason.
needs to pay.
There's a reason that taxes are there, as much as people hate them, and you could have a great argument for the tax rate being way too high at 35%. I'd be happy to have that conversation, but avoiding it entirely and just saying that I'm doing everything legally, I'm not avoiding anything, I'm paying all the taxes I'm supposed to, which is actually legally true. It's just that the process is bad. And you end up paying virtually nothing and calling that okay. Well, it's not, because it leaves the burden on all the rest of us, and then everybody's infrastructure goes down the toilet, and it's a bad situation created by greedy people who pay lobbyists to pay off government officials to create these loopholes and let them happen and keep them maintained so that the rich get richer. So it doesn't do any good for people like me and you, the way the taxes are supposed to benefit the general populace. It's a disgusting practice. I'm not a socialist, but fair is fair. I got to pay my taxes, man. Where do you think they go? You got to pay your taxes. Where do you think they go?
I pay a hell of a lot of taxes, and it really pisses me off that Tim Cook doesn't have to.
That's what I'm saying. So it makes me mad, and I don't even live there.
Well, yeah, it's criminal, and I mean, what will probably eventually somewhere down the line happen is government's going to step in and they're going to want to take control of everything.
Right.
And that's not right either, is it?
No, that's not. But they're going to come in and they're going to want to take over everything, and then it's going to be a real problem.
But I think Apple is forcing that. I think Apple, Google, Facebook is completely forcing that, and I think it started with the encryption debate. I mean, here we had these companies that suddenly said that we are not going to abide by the laws of any of your countries. We're not going to allow legal search and seizure. We're just not going to allow it. We're going to ignore what you're saying. And it went to court, and we went to Congress, and we went to all this, and they just ignored it, and they said, screw you, governments, we're not going to do it. In fact, once Apple did it, then these other companies started doing it. So I think all of this leeway that these companies have had for years, I think it's going to go away. I mean, you look at what the governments are doing. You've got Germany coming down on Facebook. You've got the EU coming down on Google, on Starbucks, on Apple. I mean, it's one by one. They're taking their hits. They're going after them. And I think it all started with Tim Cook, which goes way back. If you go back several podcasts, blogcasts, this is exactly what we were talking about. It's like this one company is standing up and making a ridiculous move, and it's going to end up costing all of us at the end, because they said encryption is all or nothing, and so it's going to end up being nothing. That's all there is to it.
I agree. Governments are eventually going to make it very difficult for these companies to operate their businesses unless they play ball with the government.
Right.
And if they don't play ball with the government, they'll get shut down. Less choice for us.
Apple doesn't have any freaking encryption. They just put a Band-Aid on the last vulnerability, which was a gaping hole. And with the people with the right software can do anything they want on your iPhone. They don't have any encryption.
That had been there for years, by the way, and was just discovered publicly. It had been there. It had been used. Was just discovered publicly. They made a big show about pushing out this patch right to the iPhone. Everybody needs to do it. They keep making announcements, even though the majority of users have not patched it. The last thing I saw on it, it's like something like 70 to 80% still have not patched it. And then a week goes by, and very quietly, Apple pushes out an update to their desktop operating system to fix the same thing.
I saw that today.
I mean, nobody mentioned that. Apple didn't say, "Oh yeah, by the way, your desktop is, hurting."
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing. You can't tell me that they didn't know that. And
no,
there's like
they
nobody's really reporting on that right now.
There's no way they didn't know it. It's been going on since the iPhone 5 and iOS 7, and all it is Dropout Jeep number 2. Only Dropout Jeep originally was, it needed some intervention to get that to work. Essentially the same thing, and then they stated, the people that discovered Dropout Jeep stated that, or found out that the next version of this was going to be able to be accomplished over the air without anybody's intervention, and so here you go. It did happen. It came true, and this was it. So I don't even believe that they fixed it. It's a Band-Aid, and there's another way in. I got money on that.
I just find it so amazing that the average consumer is so unaware of what Apple is really about and how insecure the iPhone really is, and Apple's products. They're like so unaware and so blinded by it, and it boggles my mind that people keep going for this product that really does not. Apple doesn't take anybody's what's the word I'm looking for? Apple doesn't take anybody's safety per se into perspective. They don't care if your phone gets hacked. They don't care how vulnerable your stuff is. They just want your dollar. And I just find it hard to believe that so many people are unaware of it, or that they turn the blind eye to it. I can't believe that they do this, but they do.
Well, it's not even people's cyber safety. It's their physical safety too. We have all these iPhones that are constantly blowing up, catching fire, causing explosion, and nothing's happened with them.
That's a really good segue for something we were going to talk about anyway. The Galaxy Note blew up. 35 of them blew up, so they did a recall. They're pulling back all the brand new Samsung Galaxy Notes. And what you were talking, Alpha, about the people just don't get it. They don't understand. I was over on CNET today, and I normally don't comment over there. CNET is, it's a bigger site. I actually like it. I enjoy reading it. But the comments that were on this site were unbelievable, because here we have 35 Samsungs that have blown up. Their batteries have blown up. And you have people commenting on over there, oh, well, this would never happen to Apple. And so I just started dropping links of all the different iPhone explosions, because there have been so many to the point that it is regular now. It is a regular occurrence. And one guy over there, he went through, and he was obviously there before me, and he kept pointing out, he's like, look, this is something that could blow up on an airplane. This is something that could happen. Yeah, you're talking about Bendgate, but a bend isn't going to blow up on an airplane. And it's like, dude, the airports, the airlines have completely banned the hoverboards. You can't even throw them in your carry-on luggage because they may blow up. Meanwhile, there has never been a hoverboard that has blown up on an airplane, but there was an iPhone that blew up on an airplane.
I remember that.
Yeah, it blew up, and so, I mean, it's like these people have no understanding. They're not paying attention. It is hilarious to me And I can't really point fingers because every time I run across an iPhone blowing up story, it goes right on the front page, right? Because it needs to be known. But I mean, you know that these Apple sites know this. You know, I'm sure they're just like me. They have their alerts set up for iPhone. I'm sure any iPhone story that comes through, they know about it the minute it happens. They're no different than me, but they're not publishing this, right? So the minute this story comes in about the Samsung blowing up, they're all over it.
Yes.
Every single site, every single Apple site is front page. The Samsung Note is blowing up, and this is really going to affect them because the new iPhone is coming out next week. Dude, I don't think the new iPhone. People are freaking excited because it might be blue. How stupid is that?
Yeah, I mean, a color is making them so excited. That is unbelievable to me. I mean, there's no
It's innovative.
change.
It's innovative. It's blue.
There,
Nobody's ever made a blue phone except for BlackBerry with the Classic, right?
there's no real nothing really new that they're adding to the iPhone. They're actually taking stuff away, the headset jack, the headset port, and these people are getting so excited about this. I mean, it's a literal piece of it's a piece of crap. It's so boring. It's so the UI is dated. They need to fix everything on it. The iPhone has no features whatsoever. They put the same phone out recycled year after year after year, and people just keep buying it. They just keep buying it, and I find it so amazing. Meanwhile, you have a company like BlackBerry that is doing innovative stuff. They put out innovative keyboards and what have you, both physical and virtual keyboards. And for the life of me, people just don't go for it, and I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all.
I got a buddy. I don't know what to say. He is so tired of everything with an I in front of it. He's got the little iMac computer thing. He's got an Apple laptop. He's had 2 or 3 different iPhones. He's got a cracked, buggered up iPad. It's and he's so tired of it. And I'm kind of done talking to him about it. I'm going to wait for him to ask me now because I'm sick of telling him. he hates it now. I don't know what to say. It's good for some people. Whatever, same thing over and over again. That's good for some people. I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me and so many others. It's whatever. It's a sad state of affairs. They have they have to wipe out everything on their operating system and start again like BlackBerry did to get anywhere.
Let's talk about Samsung for a minute, because I remember it was way early. It was early in UTB anyway. There was a story, and I wrote it, and I looked for it, and I can't find it. But it was a story about someone who had a Samsung phone blow up, and Samsung actually went and made them all these offers about replacing the phone and taking care of their damages and doing all this stuff. However, if they made it public, they would get nothing from them. I mean, they really bullied these people not to make it public. But
I remember that guy.
Yeah, these people went ahead and made it public. So here we are several years later. Out of, I forget how many million phones they sold, and 35 of them have blown up, and Samsung has done a complete recall. They're pulling back all their phones. They're going to fix them. They're going to put them out as their competition is putting out a new phone. I mean, regardless of if the competition is crap or not, it is their major competition is putting out a new phone as they're recalling theirs. This is going to be damaging to Samsung to an extent, People that are wavering back and forth between the two that don't keep up on mobile tech news may be swayed by this. And also the same thing, the screens are just freaking fragile, which makes no sense to me since it's the new Gorilla Glass and everybody's breaking their screens. So the question is Samsung really providing great customer service this time? Or is it more of a case of being forced to do this because it's out there? I mean, I really don't know, because when I heard that they're doing a complete recall, I was actually really happy to hear it. You know, here's a phone company, there's a problem, and they're going to fix it. That's not something that we hear about that often.
No, I know, and I remember the guy you're talking about. I remember the pictures of him standing at his front door, and the photographer's taking a picture of him holding up the letter that he got from Samsung, warning him that if he made this letter public, which he just did, that he would get nothing. And he opted for nothing because he wanted to give, he wanted to tell Samsung what he thought, and kudos to him. I don't know. Anyway, I could see that Apple being, the kind of regular type of company that they are, well, in and around these dates, and it's usually within a couple of weeks in September or something, they put out a new unit, and then I forget what the other cycle is, when it is. And I can see maybe Samsung wanting to preempt that by 2 or 3 weeks, right? Steal some thunder. And so maybe wanting to hurry up some production and getting something a little bit wrong or whatever. I don't know what the situation really is, but the point to me is if you've made a mistake, you own up to it, and you own up to it, and you do something about it. And the thing that they're doing about it is on such a magnanimous scale, or a huge scale, that it goes so deep into your philosophy. It's like, wow, look at what you did. And the number 35, I'm going to sort of call bullshit on that. That's just what we know. I mean, it could be 36, or it could be 805. I don't know. That's just what's been told to us. It doesn't really matter, though, because they sold millions of these things, and they're, in my humble opinion, doing the right thing. Whereas I don't think I've seen the same kind of attitude from the almighty Apple. You're either told that you're holding it wrong, or it doesn't really bend because there's only been 9 of them, or whatever the case may be. Whenever whatever people like to call gates happen on this stuff, name me the last time that there was some kind of massive admission and recall on stuff that happened to many thousands of people, not 35 or 800 or whatever the heck it really actually is. AntennaGate was the only time I can recall that Apple has actually admitted to an issue and done something to fix it, and with that, they just sent out a case. They sent out a case to people that filled in the little form. It was a 25-cent piece of rubber that goes around the edge of it. I mean,
yeah, it was a bumper case.
God.
And I mean, Apple still has not even admitted that touch disease is an issue, even though they've gone on to correct the issue in other phones. But hey, this is UTB Blog, so let's pull it back to BlackBerry, which we haven't even spoke about once so far.
Okay, I'll put down the baseball bat.
But we can tie it together with JP's comment on our channel. Any thoughts about the possibility of something similar to the Note 7 recall happening to a reference design being used and branded as BlackBerry in the future? BlackBerry using other brands' design exposes it to this. And I mean, in all honesty, using somebody else's design or using your own design exposes you to this. Lithium-ion batteries can be damaged and they can explode. So I mean, like in the terms of iPhone, the phones are extremely thin. They're made out of aluminum, which is the same thing we drink our beers out of. You know, we know this is not a strong metal. This is not a metal that you use to frame your house. This is a metal that you crush up and recycle. The phones bend. They just do. And with lithium-ion batteries, if they get bent, if they get punctured, if they get damaged, they blow up. It's just what they do. So it's very easy that this could happen to BlackBerry at some time if they go really thin, like they've done with D-Tech. I'm kind of concerned about D-Tech, how thin it is. But I haven't heard any damaging issues yet about any batteries. And plus the D-Tech is what, the Idol 4? So that means the Idol 3 was before it. I've actually looked. I haven't seen anything about Idol 3s blowing up. And then at the same time with the Samsung, it's not so much the thinness of the phone as charging. So there's either an issue with the cable or with the charging port or with the battery itself. I heard today there's issues with the battery itself. So whatever that is, it's a different issue. But it could happen. It could happen.
Sure, it could. But I think you made a good point. So somebody take a picture. You made a good point, Brad, because if you're careful about using a portion of somebody else's design, you have the luxury of looking at their history. And if there's something you don't like, that you're seeing, you can change it. And if you choose carefully, there's no problems anyway. So you're being, excuse me, the maverick, creating your own device from scratch, a la Passport, a la Classic, a la Leap, a la anything, even the Priv. You're creating something from scratch. You do run the risk of making something that doesn't quite fit into your plans. But so far we've been lucky, from a BlackBerry perspective, and stuff can happen, that's for sure. And I hope we never see that kind of a thing. But you always run that risk when you're manufacturing. How you doing, chap?
Hey, Dave. How you going? Hi, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, chat. Hey, not to change the subject, we'll come right back to it and we'll say hello to chat. But there's somebody named Stoner Boy that's commenting on our channel, and I think he is requesting his dinner order. So anybody that wants to go to my YouTube channel and see what Stoner Boy wants to eat, go for it. So what's up, chat?
Munchies. I'm in. Let's see what we got here.
Lunchtime. Sounds like a good idea. Oh, boy.
That's what I'm saying.
It's been a long time since I've been able to do one of these. Too much going on in the chap's life, unfortunately. But no, I'm just here to catch up with what's happening and where we're all up to.
Well, you missed all of the bashing, so that's all right.
Oh.
I mean, we can do it some more later. Up to you.
I'm sure we'll get it figured out.
Yeah.
So what's happening this week, everyone?
What's happening?
So far, we've spent a long time bitching about Apple, and we're trying to determine if Samsung is providing good customer service or running from something.
What might they be running from?
Blowing up
from their poor quality devices.
Yeah, well, I don't mean to sound like an apologist. I was kind of impressed that they are owning up to the problems.
I am too, because they could have very easily, and been seen as doing the right thing, just gone on to replace damaged devices, right? If you have this issue, here you go. They could have sent out new chargers. They could have done any of this and saved them a lot of money in the process. But they're recalling the phones, and they're going to replace these phones for everybody. That's going to be costly.
Oh, hundreds of millions. I don't even know how much.
Yeah, they sold. I think up to date they sold about 2.5 million of the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 so far, and they're recalling all of them.
Now, when they recall them and bring them back, if they could wipe TouchWiz from it, that would be doing a service.
Are you calling it like a TouchWiz disease?
Is the gate opening here?
I give Samsung credit for recalling the phones and taking ownership for it and everything. Um, like you guys were saying, it can happen to anyone. It really can. But I also think it has a lot to do with quality control. And
Mm.
I think that Samsung rushes to try to beat Apple to the punch so much that some things slip by in terms of quality control, and I think that this is one of them. And
Me too. Yeah, go ahead.
I think moving forward, you'll see that Samsung begins to take its time with its product releases as opposed to saying, "Oh, we got to beat Apple. We got to put this out before Apple does, so we could get X amount of sales extra or something like that." They
Mm.
shouldn't concern themselves with trying to be the Android Apple, because that's what I think they're trying to do. They should concern themselves with just trying to put out the best product that they can actually put out.
And I think that's what a lot of companies are starting to learn is that it's possibly not so much about just trying to beat the other guy, but look at your portfolio, look at the things you do it well, and your customers will keep coming back. Yeah, Samsung are very fortunate in the fact that they've got a lot of other um, portfolios, a lot of other areas and interests that they can actually fund such a recall and replacement. There are other companies who probably don't, but I think you're right. We've got to see companies stop going, okay, we've got to have this company killer or that company killer. It's becoming tiresome, and I think the market is sick and tired of it as well.
Yeah, you see so many companies trying to pull out something to kill. I'm so tired of the term iPhone killer. I hear that
Mm.
term so much, and it's like, stop worrying about trying to kill the iPhone. How about you try and worry about making the best product that you can actually make to keep your customers coming back, and then just let the sales speak for themselves, as opposed to trying to rush something out to because you want to beat the iPhone to something or you want to kill the iPhone at something. I'm so tired of that. The iPhone isn't even a great product anyway. It's all hype,
And there's
hype and
already an
marketing.
iPhone killer. It's named Tim Cook.
Yeah,
I decided that you can't kill the iPhone. It is the zombie phone. It's a zombie phone. You can't kill the iPhone. Just like you can't stump the Trump. It's just impossible.
Yeah, tell that to Timmy, Dave. Tell that to
Yeah.
Timmy.
Well, it's a valiant
Stop
effort. I
the
got to
Trump.
hand it to him. Yeah. That's my son's saying, by the way. You just can't stump the Trump.
Oh boy. Uh,
All right, well, let's move on to more BlackBerry news. And we have got news today that there is a new tablet being used by Germany officials.
Is it
There's
new?
well, no, I guess it's not really new. But go ahead, since you seem to know about it, Brad. Tell us more about it.
Well, I don't, because I really, my day today was, I was buried. I did not keep up on everything today, but I saw a lot of news, a lot of people reporting about the new SecuSmart tablet being used by Germany. Samsung Galaxy Tab 2, I believe, with SecuSmart technology built in. SecuSmart and Samsung worked on this together. That's not a new product. That was something that was being built and created and used before BlackBerry even picked up SecuSmart. So I mean, this was before BlackBerry picked up SecuSmart. It was before BlackBerry made an Android device, before Hub Plus. The only news I really saw and what I quickly glanced over was that the SecuSmart had Hub Plus now. Did I miss something else? Is there something new to this that I didn't catch?
I haven't heard anything. You're right. It's only slightly BlackBerry news because of the Hub Plus and the fact that BlackBerry now owns SecuSmart. I think this is more news for BlackBerry because it is something for us to speculate. People have been talking about the idea BlackBerry should put out a new tablet, and perhaps once they've got Android nutted down, we've got an Android tablet just waiting to go for BlackBerry. The question is it enterprise? Would it be enterprise? Would it be government? Or is this something that the consumer can get their hands on? The
Well, if they did
SecuSmart tablet, as you say, has just been sitting in the wings for a long time.
The SecuSmart tablet is not the tablet we're waiting for.
No, it's way too expensive. SecuSmart puts like many zeros,
Yeah,
many zeros on the price.
It's
And
almost,
what they're talking about is a machine that has cellular access and not just Wi-Fi like most of us buy. Some of us buy tablets that have cellular data access, but most people don't. And so the cellular access units are often, you know, a fleet thing or a governmental thing, and that's what this is. But if playing their cards right, chap, like you say, if you could get a tablet that was, you know, can't be rooted, you know, like BlackBerry's Android phones, and carried on with the same kind of security thing, then it could be a fleet device for people who don't need cellular access, and it could be an enterprise, and it could be available for consumers like the DTEC 50 is, if you know what I'm saying. That kind of play could fit, I think. Excuse me. And then there was one.
That ended quickly, didn't it?
Yeah. Hi, Wayno. What's going on, man?
Hey guys,
Here.
how are ya?
Hey,
Are you still in bed, chap?
What time
Bad
is
idea,
it?
mate.
It's nearly 1:30. Come on.
Half past 1 in the afternoon.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
Let's pull it back to the tablet.
Yeah.
Looking at what BlackBerry has done with the Hub Plus, I would like to see an inexpensive BlackBerry tablet. You know, with their deal with Alcatel and whoever else they have waiting in the wings to put out these other phones, I think that they could put out a very competitive tablet. And I think just having Hub Plus on a tablet would make all the world a difference. And we know the way that Android works is those developers put down what those apps are capable of working on, right? Like you could not download Blend to an Android phone. You could only download it to an Android tablet. So I'd like to see them make Hub Plus available for a BlackBerry tablet and no other tablet.
Yeah, that would be very nice, and they could easily, I think, what am I? I'm not a CEO, but they could easily, in my humble opinion, strike a deal with the likes of Samsung without blowing up batteries, and leverage leverage their deal that they've helped Samsung with Knox getting deeper into enterprise and whatnot, and use that but to make a deal to get a nicely priced, you know, a Brad price for an Android tablet with some BlackBerry goodies on it. I think that could easily happen.
I wouldn't want it to be Samsung though. I wouldn't.
Okay, well, you know, then you're making something from scratch. Who would you pick? Because TCL's not doing it, are they?
They could easily.
I know, but then you're making it from scratch. The money situation to me is not a build it from scratch thing. It's a take a current device and modify it play. But that's just me. I'd be willing to listen to anything you got to say about that. But going to TCL would mean a scratch build.
There's a lot of inexpensive tablet builders.
And TCL actually has tablets out. They have some 8-inch tablets out. They even have an 8-inch Windows tablet out, which has cellular capability.
Okay, well, good for you.
Are any of the big companies even making Android tablets these days? Apart from the Chinese?
I wonder how many actually are and how many are just rebranded. I got a Lenovo tab. I got it for $99. It's a decent tablet, and it actually feels a lot better than any Samsung tablet, that's for damn sure.
Huh? And in what way? Why do you say that?
It just feels good. You know, it's like, think about your playbook. The playbook felt good. It felt good in your hand. It felt like a piece of electronics. You hold a Samsung tab in your hands, and it's just, you know, waved around as it's going to flop. I do not like Samsung tablets. I've had a ton of them.
Okay.
They're real clicky. They just feel cheesy, and they're a lot more expensive than any of their competitors. They just are.
I always loved the playbook because it wasn't just a tablet, or isn't, because I still use mine. No. It's a weapon. It's a weapon, man. It's got the right weight, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I gotta admit, it'd be nice to get a playbook style Android tablet again. I gotta admit, I love the 7-inch form factor. I still like you, Dave. I still use my playbook tablet. We've got a couple of them around the house. They're very useful. People have constantly been talking about getting Android on the playbook, and if they had, they would buy it, etc., etc., etc. Now that BlackBerry's using their own Android style of OS, it can't be that difficult to marry the two together. Seriously.
Yeah. No, that's an awesome unit. I love that playbook still. I just got back from a company fishing trip, and I used it to be DJ. You know what I mean? It's just awesome. I love it. But anyway.
All right, guys. Do we have anything else?
Well, here's the tab. I'm looking up to see if it's got Hub Plus right now. It's an 8-inch tab. It's Lenovo. It's $99. Like, you can't get something like this from Samsung for less than $150. Just doesn't happen.
Even that, I brought up the point last week, was the fact that it doesn't run Marshmallow. It's still stuck on KitKat, I think.
Yeah, this one's on Marshmallow, which is the reason why I got it. And I really figured, you know, you get used to BlackBerry Marshmallow, you're like, oh, that'll be handy. This is really set in the drawer since I got it. I'm telling you, BlackBerry has done a lot to Android. You don't really feel it looking at it, but it's useful. It really is. And, like, this thing just isn't. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. And Hub Plus is not available on it.
No, it's not because, well, not because. It's not, oh, right, it's a Marshmallow thing. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at it to see if it was available, and it's not.
I was going to blame it on Lollipop, but I can't because that's in beta. The Hub Plus is in beta for Lollipop.
Yeah, they haven't made it available for tablets.
No, that's right.
News. I like that. Except I don't like it because it makes this even more useless.
I still have a hate on for using those words. I don't like Marshmallow. I don't like Lollipop. I don't like Kit Kat. I don't like those silly names. It drives me nuts, as opposed to another word I was going to use. So I'm good with it. Or I'm already insane, chap, but then you know that, don't you? Yes, you do. Yes. Yeah, 6.0.1, that's what we're on. Or something. So yeah, you're screwed there, Brad. Bummer. Next.
I mean, whatever. It's a gadget.
Could have been worse. You could have paid the Australian prices for it.
Or I could have bought a Samsung. Right. Would have been equally as useless. Just at a higher price.
A lot more for your Samsung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait till February when we get our Kickstarter Superbooks.
Yeah. Yeah, I still need to fill out that survey.
I never signed up for that. I was tempted, but I look around my house and I have like 1,812 gadgets that need charging, and I go, what do you want? You're going to buy another one? No.
Yes, I'd be sleeping out on the street tonight if I'd have done that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Dude, the couch. Yeah, it's over there.
All right, boys. What else do we have on our list tonight?
How about the exposure? Or okay, a long time ago when the Earth was green, a long time ago when the Earth was green, Indiana Jones made had a movie out, and it was really cool. Yeah, that's not it. And now I forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, a long time ago when the Earth was green, yeah, BlackBerry bought a company that I'd never heard of before called Mo Virtue, and as opposed to people abstaining from things or whatever. It's a company that was creating virtual SIM cards for the mobile industry, and I thought that the play was going to be that BlackBerry would integrate that into BB10 in the enterprise, and then on the work and the personal side, you'd have if it was a company device handed to you, non-BYOD, then the hardware SIM would be on the work side maybe, and then the virtual SIM could be your own phone number, or the other way around, depending on whether it was BYOD or not. Well, I don't think we ever saw that come to fruition, did we? I don't think I've ever seen that in a play anywhere. No news, no nothing. And so, to me, this is the first time I've ever seen Mo Virtue in play, and I think they're calling it Numbers Master or something like that, which is interesting. I don't know. It's Far Eastern deal. And I was surprised to see that you can have up to, I think it's 10 different phone numbers on this virtual SIM card. That went way beyond my expectations. Unbelievable. I thought maybe you'd just get another phone number as on your virtual SIM, but no, these guys are doing up to 10, and I think that's phenomenal. It's what a cool thing. You can have you can be a kind of like a receptionist with 10 different phone numbers and dealing with those things on one handset. That's amazing to me. I don't know.
Seriously, who needs 10 numbers?
I don't know. When I saw that number 10, I'm going, what the hell? I thought that was well, it was a surprise. Let's just put it that way. The technology's there, and so yeah, maybe that's the ceiling. I don't know, because you only have so much data available to you, or so much bandwidth, or whatever. And think about making a phone call. Your phone app, because it is an app. It's you're going to have to choose which one of those profiles you're going to dial out with. Like, what do you want the calling line ID to be seen as to the person that you're phoning, right? Is it going to be this company or that company or this phone number or that phone number? What is it, right? That's bizarre.
I get it. There's places in the world where people do jump networks. Travelers they will need to jump. I get that part. But what I want to be able to clone my same number across multiple phones. I want my BBID and my phone number on both my passport and my PRIV. It would save me, about $30 a month, because I do have two phones. I do have two numbers. They're both live. But that's always a pain too, because it's like, okay, which number am I giving this person, right?
Yeah. Well, what are your two phone numbers, Brad?
Oh. 867-5309, Dave.
Yeah, Jenny. Okay, I'll call you Jenny. Jenny. Okay. No, that would be really cool. I've often had that wish and hope and dream and desire for the BBM to hop along to any device I happen to be on, but it's either transfer or nothing. You can't share. And I would dearly love that from a SIM cellular perspective as well. I have the opportunity to log into my TELUS account and change my phone number to be over on my passport, and then change it over to be on my Z30, and then change it back over to be on my Priv if I want.
So that would be nice. We don't have that option here, or at least I don't with my carrier. I mean,
Yeah.
I would seriously be willing to pay. I'm already paying for 2 lines. I would pay the same amount just to have the same phone number, the same BBID on both my phones.
Yeah,
I would have no problem paying for that.
I'd pay for that too. And up here on this particular carrier anyway, I don't know what it's like for other carriers, but the only reason I can log in and move my SIM around to whatever phone I want is because it's a corporate account. So ask your carrier if you can be a corporate account because you have more than one phone, and see if you can get on a plan. You know, it probably would cost you nothing.
AT&T would probably look at me and go, "Oh, you have a BlackBerry. That's not supported."
Yeah. Just tell them it's some other bloody piece of crap, and I'm sure they can make it happen.
Hey, can I just tell you, just to go off on a little private, personal story here, when I took my BlackBerry Priv into the ocean with me, which was like one of the worst days of my life, and then I come back and I've paid for the insurance going all the way back to my Curve. I've always paid for the insurance on my phones. I think it's like $7 a month now, but you take it back like 20 years I've had these phones. I've paid a fair amount. So I go through all the rigmarole. Anybody that's had to replace a phone through AT&T insurance, oh my God, man, that's going to be I'm going to take even extra care of my phones now because it's a pain in the ass. You have to go, you have to download these documents, you have to print these documents out, then you have to scan the documents and send them back to them. I mean, this is a telecommunications company. Don't, step into this decade, please. And so I go through all that. They tell me they're going to get back to me every step of the way, and I never get an email from them, not once. It's apparently AT&T can't figure out how to email their customers until you're late on a bill. And finally I get onto their website to check it out for myself because I haven't got an email, and they were going to replace my, $700 BlackBerry Priv with my no longer supported BlackBerry Classic. You want to talk about an unhappy Brad face? That was That was not a good day.
Okay, wait. Let's just roll back here for a sec. You went swimming with your Priv, which is questionable.
I didn't really go swimming with my Priv. I went falling with my Priv.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, Dave.
Whatever. You were missing your flippers. I get it. Anyway, so that happened, and then you've been paying for God only knows however long that is, and they come back to you and say, okay, I'll replace it with a completely different machine.
Yeah, which
That's
then
what they
took
said.
way more time of talking to them and explaining to them the difference and telling them that I was actually speaking to them from a Classic.
Yeah, I've already got one of these.
I'm like, really? I've got a Classic up to my ear right now. I don't need another Classic.
But that's not supported.
Just had to gripe for a minute.
Well, I don't blame you because that's a fairly regressive offer. It's as much as I love the Classic.
Exactly.
I love the Classic as a piece of equipment. I've only had one in my hands for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and I thought that thing was one of the best designed handheld devices because it's just so perfect in your hand. Beautiful keyboard, and I almost didn't want to let it go because it was for somebody else, and all I had was 20 minutes with it, and I loved that thing. I thought it was brilliant. It is a brilliant phone.
And it came in blue. But let's clarify.
That's right.
Let's clarify.
That's the next subject, yeah.
I do want to clarify that I'm not upset that they were offering me a BB10 phone or anything like that. I could totally see Anthony and True North going off on me right now because I told that story. if they listen to this. But I used the Classic when I lost my Priv, and I fell in love with it all over again. I still say the Classic is the best filling phone in your hands ever. It is the best keyboard on any BlackBerry ever, my opinion.
Yeah, it took the 9900 and created an outrageous experience out of the same sort of form factor.
Yeah,
and gave every BlackBerry 10 lover or BlackBerry OS lover exactly what they wanted. That needs to get kicked up a notch.
At this point, I've gotten very used to carrying BlackBerry 10 and Android, or BlackBerry Android, and you know, 2 BlackBerry 10 phones just wouldn't do me any good, especially when I already have one of them. So I just wanted to clarify that before Anthony goes off on me in the comments.
He's going to do it anyway, so whatever.
That's right. Part of the routine. Routine.
It's all good. Nothing to see here.
Are we done on the more virtue? Are we done on the more virtue stuff?
Sure. What you got, chap?
Because I was just going to say, like, you were talking about the whole idea of having, what was it, up to 10 different phone numbers on the one virtual SIM. What you're actually looking at there is kind of an integrated hub for phone numbers. If you do have a whole bunch of different lines, I've got my chaplaincy work. I'm also a small business owner doing IT. I've got a bunch of other things on the go. Imagine being able to just divide those things up, but still have it all coming to the same place. Just like all of our emails and all of our... It's just such a brilliant idea. For those of us that do only carry the one phone, and for small business users in particular who might need to have a bunch of different lines, but all of them coming straight to you, so that different people are being diverted to different spaces, I think that what BlackBerry has here is something that's just absolute gold. I think small businesses are really going to be of benefit from this particular solution.
Well, chap, you know what? I'm a phone guy by trade, and we can see what's happening. Just a little background, our industry is telephone systems for business and industry. So you walk into a place and you see people with phones on their desks, and they're dialing 9 to get out, or they're pushing a button to get line 3, or whatever they're doing to dial out. And there's anywhere from 5 to many hundreds of these phones placed there. Well, the way the software is happening, the way the industry is moving, we're all moving to wireless. We're all moving to mobile. We're all moving to that. And to me, there's a play to be made that would combine what you're asking for and what Brad's wishes are. Well, some of Brad's wishes, because the other ones are fit for public consumption. But anyway,
illegal, mostly.
Yeah. And that would be to merge and clone these multiple numbers in a wireless world, so that you and I could be in a business, chap, and certain people would be answering these certain numbers, and other direct numbers would be going to these other direct people, and you'd be able to transfer some numbers that came into one place to another person in your wireless world, and have cloning. Like today I can answer this number, and today you're answering this number, and have a virtual wireless cellular-based PBX, right? So those are the kinds of things that we're selling today, but it's software that we sell, where we take your numbers and put them into our virtual machines, and then distribute apps on your mobile phones, and that's how we handle that. But the carrier could do that too, he said, ruining his own business. And that's what you're asking for, and there's no reason it cannot happen.
Well, see, that's the question I have, Dave, because again, I understand travelers, I understand people in countries where there are markets out there where people will have a different phone, different service for long distance than they will their domestic. And it's more cost effective for them to do that. So I get those markets, but as far as like what Chap's talking about with the business and what you're talking about with the business, don't we already have that capability just through the call forwarding that we have now? Because I know there's services out there like the answering services that work with the doctor's offices and the different areas, and they'll get 10 different offices forwarded to their phone while they're on duty. And then when they're off duty, those numbers get forwarded to somebody else. Like that. I'm just wondering how that actually.
That's old school, yeah. That's really old school, and then that's declining too. In the face of the way telephony has historically been, put out there. Answering services have gone down the hill. It all started with voicemail when companies started getting voicemail on their phone systems. Answering services started to die, but who uses voicemail anymore kind of thing. That was really huge for 30 years. And now, the millennials are happening and things are changing and people hardly talk on their phones anymore like you. and so now it's all alternate sources of communication through texting and apps and different services and whatnot. But voice just can't die yet. It just can't. And so really what's happening now is a mobile play and a wireless play. And so it's all about the software and how you move the calls around through software. And if carriers don't get it, then people like us get it. And we distribute phone calls however we want to, whether it's to a piece on your desk or on your mobile or through an app or forwarding or whatever you want. I got software that'll do anything.
But also moving those numbers is one thing. You talked about call forwarding, and that's adding a different service between one mailbox, if you like, and another. The idea of the virtual SIM takes out that. And what happens is the more processes you put between one end and the other, the more likely you are to have errors occur or things go wrong. So what this does is it takes out a lot of those bridges, a lot of those connectors, and it means that you're going to get a more reliable service. I see where you're coming from, Brad. And maybe it's kind of selling the same thing in a different package, but you're selling it in a package that's going to be a lot more reliable. So you don't lose those important business calls. You don't lose all of that connection that you need to have.
Now, while we're on the subject of these multiple numbers, are they all through one carrier?
That's an excellent question, and I'm going to say yes. I don't know how you'd have a virtual SIM as an entity with more than one carrier. Again, technically, there's no reason it should not be able to happen, but I'll bet you dollars to donuts, which isn't an Australian thing to say, that it's a carrier-specific thing. Yeah, do you?
I think they would need to be
able
to
you have
cross
Australian
carriers.
Dollars, yeah.
No, I think they need to be able to cross carriers because the whole
I
point
agree.
the whole point of that Movirtue is to do away with the dual SIM phones, right? Well, the majority of the reason why you have those dual SIM phones is because you have to have two different carriers. So you have two different carrier SIMs in your phone that you can just flip between. So Movirtue is supposed to take the place of those. So if it can't just be limited to one carrier, that would make it kind of useless.
Okay, here's another take on that. I get what you're saying, and I subscribe to it. But if you're going to provide that SIM, and you're going to, let me roll back a sec. The advent of connectivity and telephony has gone to SIP, Session Initiation Protocol, and that allows you from a
Protocol
connectivity.
does not start with an M, Dave.
Okay, and that protocol or that idea, it allows you to say, I live in this particular area, and in my area it's a 604 area code in British Columbia, North America, Canada. and then my neighbors.
674-867-5309?
Yeah, and then my neighbors are 403 and whatever, and your area code whatever, but in the SIP world, I can get numbers ported from anywhere, and so if they can do that in a Movirtu world, then you get what you're asking for.
Look, a good example of that, I was doing a job out in the country the other day, and I have my passport and my Priv with me. Now, the passport's on Vodafone, and the Priv is on Optus. And, yeah, look at chap shaking his head. Now, I was down working in a valley, and the passport didn't have any service through Vodafone, and yet the Priv did. Now, I needed to order parts, so it was lucky that I had both phones and could use the Priv through Optus in that particular area. So that's definitely one benefit, is where one carrier does not provide, good service in a particular area.
See, the way I see this working, and I could be totally wrong, I understand that it's 3, and it looks like it was, in China that they were offering this, where they can get the 10 phone numbers on one. I get that 3 is offering this, and that SIM is going to go through the carrier. But I see, and I mean, again, I have not looked into this at all, but I see the business being that Movirtu sells me the SIM, and then I can connect that SIM to whatever networks I need to, and carriers that I need to. And we know that can already happen. I mean, honestly, let's go back to the idiots over at Apple sorry, I'm not supposed to say that word anymore, but let's go look at them.
What, Apple?
And they have the Apple SIM, which can connect to any of the carriers. Now, here in the U.S., the carrier said, screw that, we're not going to play your game. Once you connect that SIM to us, it's locked to our network, and you can't use it for somebody else. So that's something that needs to be dealt with. I mean, whenever there's a new technology, just like with NFC and the rest of the world is out there making payments, the U.S. carriers have to screw it up. That's all there is to it. So right now they're screwing up this what do you want to call it, evolution of SIM.
Right. So,
but the way I would expect it to work is that, sure, 3 can offer that, and they can offer the 10 phone numbers, but then, Chucky down the street can go over to Movirtu and buy the SIM and can get a 3 account and I don't know who 3's competitors are. Office, AT&T, whoever. They can get, exactly. They can go get a 3 account, they can go get a 2 account, they can go get a 789 account. So that's the way I would like to see it work.
Yeah, but I don't think you're buying anything from Movirtu. I think that they are supplying a technology and licensing it to a carrier or somebody who wants to do something with it. Then this mobile numbers guy or number whatever it is, guys have taken this and they're going to do this specific thing with it. And it's not like you can do anything you want with it. It's just you can do with whatever they're offering you with it. So Movirtu has the opportunity to go to AT&T and say, look at this thing I've got. And AT&T might turn it into, well, you can have 3 numbers, and you can pick 1 for the EU, 1 for the US, 1 for Canada or Mexico or whatever you want, and run with that. These guys that made 10 numbers out of it, I don't know whether that's the limit or just what they chose to do with it. I don't know.
With the SIM cards, the carriers normally work on the serial number basis. Wouldn't it be cool if Movirtu did put out a SIM card that you could have virtual serial numbers and do exactly what Brad is saying?
Exactly.
So, sure, the carrier says, we're going to lock this SIM card down to our network. They lock that serial number down. Oh dear, let's just create another serial number for the SIM card, and then T-Mobile can then come in. Mobile, sorry, wrong accent. T-Mobile can come in and then stick it on the same SIM but different serial number. That would be awesome.
I got the perfect brand name for that. It's called Serial Killer. Okay,
Well,
maybe not.
I mean, think about it. You could sell.
Part of your healthy breakfast.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, think about it. You could sell a SIM card for $100, right? I mean, how much money actually goes into the production of those things? Hardly anything. Sell a SIM card for $100. You slip that in your phone, and then you do exactly what Chap said. As you need a new carrier, you punch it up. You need a new SIM card, you go back to MoVirtue, you spend another $100 on another SIM card. And we know that it doesn't have to be AT&T making the SIM card for AT&T. It doesn't have to be T-Mobile. We know that because of Apple's SIM that they threw in their iPads.
You can do whatever you want.
Didn't work. Yeah. But exactly what Chap was just saying, let them lock that down. But then you've got 9 more
slots. Yeah.
On the same SIM card.
Yeah.
We really should have researched this before, so we weren't just guessing.
No, I think we just made millions of dollars for somebody else.
There's some dude at the patent office right now doing exactly what I just said.
I'm just saying, yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. Shit.
Remember, you heard it here first, folks, and you can send your checks to UTB.
Nicely nice.
Do we have anything else?
Well, there's nothing else that's going to make $1 million. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
For somebody who's listening to this blogcast.
Yeah.
I think that's our cue to say goodnight then.
Well, no, it's not. I want to take 2 minutes to promote the UTB family because I planned on sitting down and writing a blog post tonight, and I'm obviously not going to have time to do that now. I have to get up stupid early in the morning. Got to get the audio podcast up. But there is more than just UTB blogs because we have fun and we like to do other things. And some of those other things kind of fell by the wayside for a while, and I think we're kind of having more fun with it now. We've kind of streamlined ourselves and we've discovered what this other site is. So we've got UTB blogs, which is us. This is the way I always describe it is this is our cause. This is our reason for being here. None of us really have a reason to be friends outside of UTB blogs. So this is what holds us together. But then for everything...
That's Brad's way of saying he wants to kill me.
Dave knows phones. That's the only reason I talk to him. But for all of our other interests, we have UTB Geek, which has gone through a bit of a transition lately, right, Erica? You'll see more of us on UTB Geek than you saw before, but we're each looking at our own sort of thing. So things that interest us, we're blogging about it. That's basically stuff that just doesn't belong on UTB blogs. We also have UTB Networks, which is honestly just a back-end site, but that is our podcast site, which is where you will find the audio versions of the UTB Blogcast. Geek E, which is Erica's podcast for the Geek site. Talking Geek with Mike and Brad, which is me and my old buddy Mike from real life outside of the BlackBerry world, just talking shit to each other. And hopefully at some point, because he keeps saying he's going to do it, yet I haven't heard it yet, Alpha Geek is supposed to be bringing world's greatest geeks to UTB networks.
Yes.
Well, if that happens, I'm curious, man. What would you want to bring forward? I want to hear a little bit of what you want to bring forward there.
A teaser.
Well, a lot of what we talk about on World's Greatest Geeks, it's actually a lot of stuff that happens on UTB Geeks. We talk a lot about comic books. We talk a lot about cell phones, tablets, computers. We talk a lot about action figures. We talk about gaming. But then we also talk about music. Anything that somebody can really geek out to.
See, I would listen to that.
Talk about.
I would listen to it if you recorded it.
So, I'm curious, is action figures like Kim Kardashian or?
No.
That's a different type of action, Dave.
Plastic.
And they're both plastic. Yeah. I love it. Oh my God, that's too good.
I
The
called out
other thing
Alpha. I called out Alpha. I want to call out somebody else because I know there is a completely separate community from UTB blogs that's really into BlackBerry that are upside down for the rest of us, and that's those Australians over there. And on my screen, you two are sitting together, and except Chap just disappeared. Chap just disappeared.
No,
he's upside down. Okay.
He's upside down, mate.
You know, you guys have a lot of time over there because your toilets flush the opposite direction. So I'd love to hear the Australian BBM group have a podcast. So at some point, I'd love to have like a podcast today coming out of UTB Networks. And if there's somebody that's like a reader and a BlackBerry user and a BlackBerry fan that wants to do a podcast about anything, we've got UTB Networks. We're here to help, but you got to like BlackBerry. So there.
What comes out of the Aussie BBM group isn't fit for human consumption.
Oh,
I'm not going to eat anything you present, buddy.
I've actually left the Aussie BBM group. He's
abandoned us.
Hey, if you guys do something, I'm happy to be part of it. Just because I'm part of the collective.
Commonwealth.
In Canada, in Canada, and as long as you put some shrimps on the Barbie, I'm in.
Let's just say that myself, Erica, and Alpha, we don't have the queen on our money, so we're all good.
Yeah, you've got some people lesser than that on your money, but you're right.
You don't need to. You guys have enough queens over there as it is.
The guy spends 3 weeks in the U.S.
That's enough,
right.
isn't it?
More than enough.
Let's call it, folks. Let's end it. Thank you.
Okay, let's say good night.
You got it. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Night
See you
all.
next
Have a
week.
fabulous evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Goodbye.